All right, let's dive right into this because we're talking about something pretty surprising, the connection between how we talk to ourselves and how well we actually sleep. It turns out that little voice inside your head, it might just be the biggest sleep disruptor you've got.
You know the scene, right? We have all been there. It's the middle of the night. Your eyes just pop open and your mind starts going a mile a minute. But the real problem isn't just that you're awake. It's that other voice that chimes in. The one that starts beating you up, telling you you're going to be a wreck tomorrow, that you're somehow failing at the simple act of sleeping.
And here's the real kicker. Clinical psychologist Dr. Lydia Brown says that all that frustration and self-criticism, it's not just unhelpful, it's actively making things worse. It literally pumps up your nervous system, wakes you up even more, and traps you in this awful cycle of stress and sleeplessness.
So this voice, the one that's a professional at pointing out every single one of our flaws and mistakes, well, it has a name. It's our inner critic. And as you're about to see, the impact of this inner critic goes way beyond just your mood. It has a real physical effect on your body, and it starts with your sleep.
So if beating yourself up is a total dead end, what's the alternative? Well, that leads us to a really powerful scientific discovery, and it all has to do with the connection between sleep and compassion.
Researchers started digging into this very question, and what they found was kind of remarkable. There is a significant, measurable link between how kind you are to yourself and the quality of your sleep. This isn't just some nice, feel-good idea. It's actually backed by a ton of data.
And what really gives this finding so much weight is the scale of the research. I mean, we're not talking about some small little study here. This was a huge meta-analysis that pulled together the results from 17 different studies covering over 1,800 people. That's a lot of data pointing in the same direction.
Okay, before we go any further, let's just make sure we're on the same page about what self-compassion actually means. It is not about just letting yourself off the hook for everything. It's really a skill made of 3 parts. First, just being kind to yourself instead of judgmental. Second, being aware of your struggle without letting it completely take over. And third, and this one is huge, remembering that messing up and having a hard time is part of being human. Everybody struggles. And the conclusion from all that data? Well, it was totally unambiguous. People who practiced more self-compassion again and again reported getting better sleep. It's a direct line. The more kindness you show yourself, the better you rest at night.
But how does that even work? I mean, how can a mindset, a way of thinking, have such a real physical effect on our bodies? This is where we get into the really fascinating biology of our own inner voice. So yeah, let's ask the big question here. How does what we say to ourselves in our own heads translate into a chemical reaction that can either put our bodies on high alert or, help them chill out and get ready for rest?
And here it is, the whole mechanism laid out. Your body literally interprets your self-criticism as a threat. See, our brains evolved to see being judged or rejected by the tribe as a survival threat. And your inner critic, it sounds just like that judging voice, so it triggers the same ancient fight-or-flight response, flooding your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. Self-compassion does the complete opposite. It flips the switch to your rest and digest system, which creates a feeling of safety and actually lowers cortisol.
Now get this, because this point is so important. It's not just the absence of kindness that's the problem. The research specifically found that self-coldness, the act of being actively harsh and aggressive with yourself, is what's most strongly linked to poor sleep. It's the attack itself that does the real damage.
And this whole thing isn't just about sleep. A body that's stuck in this stress cycle will show it in other ways. If you're dealing with things like digestive problems, constantly tight muscles, or you find yourself needing caffeine or sugar just to get through the day, that could be a sign that your inner critic is keeping your whole system on high alert, 24/7.
Okay, so here's the best part of all this. Self-compassion isn't some personality trait that you either have or you don't. No, it's a skill. It's something you can actually learn and practice. So let's look at how to put it into action.
It really all starts with this simple but really powerful shift in how you see things. I mean, think about it. The one relationship you're guaranteed to have for your entire life is the one you have with yourself. So, doesn't it just make sense to treat that friend well?
This question right here is the foundation. It's your starting point. Next time you're awake at 3 a.m. and that critical voice pipes up, just pause. Ask yourself, if my best friend called me right now, feeling this exact same way, what would I say to them? I guarantee you would be a heck of a lot kinder than what you're saying to yourself.
So we can actually break this down into 3 simple steps. Step 1. Just notice what's happening without piling on judgment. Something as simple as, wow, this is really hard right now. I'm suffering. Step 2, connect with that idea of common humanity. You know what? I'm not the only person who goes through this. And then step 3, actively choose to be kind to yourself just like you would for that friend.
And these are little things you can do right there in the moment. Even something as simple as putting a hand over your heart. That's a form of self-soothing touch that can actually help trigger that calming response in your body. Simply naming the feeling, saying, this is a moment of suffering, creates a little space around it. And so importantly, letting go of that frantic need to fix your sleep right now can paradoxically be the very thing that allows sleep to come.
Okay, now this is where things get really, really interesting. The goal here isn't to start a war with your inner critic and try to shut it up for good, because really, that's just creating more conflict, right? The real change happens when you shift your entire relationship with that voice.
There are some amazing ways to look at this, like from a therapy model called internal family systems. And as Dr. Martha Sweezy explains it, that critical part of you isn't actually trying to be a villain. It has good intentions, believe it or not, even if its methods are pretty clumsy and painful.
Yeah. Think of your inner critic like a bodyguard who's way too intense. A bodyguard who thinks that shouting at you is the only way to stop you from making a mistake or getting embarrassed. Its goal is to protect you, but its strategy is just outdated, and it ends up causing the very stress it's trying to save you from.
And that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. What if the real key to a better night's sleep isn't about fighting that voice in your head? What if it's about turning toward it with a little curiosity, a little compassion? Understanding its protective mission could be the very thing that allows it and you to finally get some rest.